lineup in his colors previously in Shea Theodore. Referees for tonight, Jeff Ingram, Bobby Joe Love, Trevor Beaton, and Brett Mackey are your linesmen. Sit back and enjoy final matchup of this regular season series. Thunderbirds and the Winterhawks as a big belting hit at center ice. Korchinski and Jack O'Brien in the collision as the puck behind the Portland net. Worked out by Schaefer. Up high now for Bauer and just missed the net. Loose puck near boards from DeLorme. Bumping one to center ice. Cross-Handis will pitch it on target. Thomas Miller's turned that one away, and Mike Johnson's Bucks get the first change. A little past 30 seconds gone by as a turnover and flipped toward the net by Clausen. That's gloved by Thomas Milic. First whistle of this game with 19:18 to go in period one. Thunderbirds in their dark navy jerseys. Green and gray trim. The Winterhawks in their contrasting red jerseys, black and white trim.
I got a feeling we're going to see a lot of that throughout the course of the game tonight. High intensity, a lot on the line as we highlighted in the pregame. As you see, first scoring chance for Portland, an easy save for Milic. Great to see Bauer back in the lineup. First time I've seen him on one of these TV broadcasts after missing 3 months with an injury. The T-Birds captain. Great to see him back in the lineup for Matt Odette.
6th round draft pick of the Winnipeg Jets back in 2020, and he is going to be a very important piece for their blue line come playoff time. These two teams already guaranteed spots and battling it out now for the better spot in the U.S. division and the conference. Svejkovsky pitched one back toward the Winterhawk line. Reverse to center red and Clausen. This side and shipped back in by Jaden Duro. Thunderbirds back on a counterattack. Lukas Svejkovsky, he's red hot, and the save is made off 50-foot bid. Taylor Gauthier got the pad on that one. Loose puck now to the corner. Stefan giving back and roulette, just missing wide. Aiden Lidke, left wing to center. Too far ahead of McCleary. Thunderbird defense getting back. Minio turned that one over. Marcus Nguyen, who began the comeback last night, gives this one away to Nico Majatovic off the boards. Tangle up now with Luca Cagnoni. And Lidke pitching this one to center. Sawyer Minio bumped off the wall back in deep Portland zone. Shazowski trying to regroup for Cagnoni, who lost his edge. Slings one ahead. No win. Will chip it back in. Korchinski hustling to the backboards. And reversing one now for the captain, Bauer. Up the left side to center. And the Winterhawks back to retreat. Cross-Handis over the boards. As now from DeLorme trying to move it out. Rubinski and Koster done. Off the bench now for this shift. And work back ahead. Jack O'Brien pursues from the right. Centering attempt. Pinball's just wide of the Seattle net.
The right idea from O'Brien. It just got the skate of a Seattle defenseman, but he was the one that started that rush last night that resulted in the overtime winner.
Out of the corner, Cross-Handis, centering attempt and looking off from DeLorme, and that just exploding off his stick. Rubinski back along to the neutral zone. Lehanis took it away. Will chip it in deep. Blocker side corner of Thomas Milic. Rubinski, Koster done, and Reed Schaefer on this line. Their time is up. Connor Roulette's trio jumping out now with Svejkovsky and Davidson. This trio can light it up. Samuel Konashko missing last night's game. He's back in. Alonda Roulette to center red. Svejkovsky advancing into the glove side corner of Taylor Gauthier. Davidson bump one to the net. Knocked away. Looking back onto the point. Konashko's shot was blocked by Shelter. Jeremy Hansel just kept it in. Recovering Ryder Thompson up the near boards out of the reach of Shelter. Thompson now looking left side, kept in Konashko. Collision forcing a loose puck. And Josh Morey from the red line was trapped and able to back channel this one and dump back in by Jonah Bevington.
Second nice shift we've seen from that top line of Seattle of Roulette, Davidson, and Svejkovsky.
Turnover, Duro, wrist shot blocked off of traffic. Cagnoni recovers, left point shot, and skittering through over near side. Worked back along by Sam Oremba. Onto the red line, Majatovic swats it back in. Matt Odette's bunch go for a change. Popowich and Korchinski first over the boards as now Portland dials it back up through center. Popowich took it back. Matthew Reppe countering. Wrist shot blocked. Out of play off Luca Cagnoni. And we have 15:40 left in period one.
We highlighted Seattle needing to do something to solve Taylor Gauthier, who has just been terrific in his last 2 starts against Seattle, and he's been lights out since coming over in the trade. And I think they can look to last night's tape maybe as something to point to. They scored 4 goals, their first 4 of the night, I should say, inside the crease. So they really went to those dirty areas. They were grabbing rebounds, finding ways to score greasy goals. And when you got a goaltender, you're having a hard time finding the back of the net. That's a good way to find a way to score for Matt Odette's group.
4-1 in the last 5 games. Gauthier this season against Seattle in 7 games, 9.41 save percentage. Is that good?
That's not bad.
Tongue in cheek. Here's Ludwig left wing. Save made by Gauthier, and he hangs on with 15:22 to go in period 1.
He just has something about those T-Bird jerseys. I don't know what it is, but when he sees them shooting pucks at him, he just doesn't seem to have any problem making saves. And doesn't matter if he's playing for Portland or if he's playing for Prince George, and you're going to see Seattle just try and get creative. Here's Ludwig sending a shot in, couple of bodies out in front of Gauthier, but he's able to make an easy save. And then, as I highlighted, Seattle scored greasy goals, so that rebound control is going to be important, and nice save and control of the puck.
Face off to the right of Gauthier, and Portland able to exit the zone, but a giveaway. Sawyer Minio from center red will pound it back in. Gauthier up to Luca Cagnoni. Rim right side, Marcus Nguyen. Taken back for the Thunderbirds, and Middlestat drew contact. A penalty coming up here against Portland. Davidson left wing, low shot, pad save. Gauthier, Cagnoni touching up. And the first power play of the game coming up on a high sticking penalty with 14:59 to go in period 1.
Yeah, Chizowski got his stick up high, an easy call for the official. It happened right in front of him, and now we'll get a chance to look at Seattle's power play. You're on the road in a hostile crowd, trying to settle your nerves down. This is a great thing to have early on in the first period. Seattle's power play, they've scored 3 power play goals here in the last 5 games. You get a look at the replay. Chizowski right there. Yep, you see it. Stick makes contact with the face right in front of the official. Easy call to make, and here we get a look at Seattle with the man advantage.
Thunderbirds on the Planet Fitness power play. They are 9th best in the Western Hockey League at 23%. Jared Davidson, their big power play guy, he's out there. 29 points to lead the special teams unit. Portland's penalty kill, though, very good. Matter of fact, tied with Seattle. Tied for 3rd at 83%.
The unique thing about Seattle's special teams, both their power play and their penalty kills, are better on the road this year. It's one of those weird anomalies. You're not sure why, but they have the #1 road killing power play unit in the entire WHL.
Potentially useful ingredient coming up in postseason time when you talk about a 7-game series. Face off to the left of Gauthier. Won by Clay Honus, bumped to center. Jaden Dureau, one more man to beat. Jared Davidson says no. Countering Henrik Rubinski. Left side, Schaefer to the point, Davidson. Setting up Schaefer, they play catch, and Davidson trying to escape Klassen. Korchinski into the skates of Rubinski. Take to the circle. Schaefer back. Korchinski fluttering one just wide of the net. Rubinski trying to hustle it down. Portland won the foot race and sent down the lane by Marek Alsher.
Penalty kill off to a good start, even just with winning the face-off in their own zone, killing a few seconds, making Seattle reset in the neutral zone.
Korchinski, Rempe, Rubinski, Schaefer, and Davidson, the Seattle unit. As the big Matthew Rempe ties it up, loose puck jammed away and sent down by Cross Annis.
Something Matt Odette highlighted after their win last night. He wanted to see better power plays. He wanted to see him move the puck, wanted to see him create more scoring chances.
Connor Roulette cruising on through center. Sveikovsky dropping in for Popovich. To the circle, Sveikovsky out of the point for Hansel. Point-to-point Roulette, low shot to the skates of Ryder Thompson. Banged out the boards and down courtesy Curtis Smythe. 2:43 to go on the man advantage. A shot by Sveikovsky, save made by Gauthier, and a puck sent back to center ice. Still more time to clear here for the Winterhawks as Seattle moves it back in. Connor Roulette in the scoreless draw under pressure. Leaving it along the right boards for Jeremy Hansel. Into the corner, Popovich. Rimmed around, and Sveikovsky setting up for the point with 2:15 to go on this portion of the minor. Turnover, breakaway, Dureau in on net of the backhand, score! Right behind the pack. Jaden Dureau scores the 5th shorthanded goal for the Winterhawks this season. His 19th of the campaign. And 13:07 to go in period one. The Winterhawks out to a 1-0 lead.
That's how you wake up a packed house at the VMC. Jaden DeRoe, Tampa Bay Lightning draft prospect, catches a wonky bounce off of the boards and catches Seattle in between. Able to break away, does a great job delaying, taking his time, getting Milic off of his skates, and goes to the backhand. That's a pretty goal. And still with 2:04 to kill on this power play, a big momentum boost early for Portland.
Saskatchewan native has picked up the pace. That is his 6th point. Last 4 games. That's a big goal to set tone here in a building that can get pretty noisy. As Jaden DeRoe scores shorthanded to make it 1-0 in favor of Portland. Korchinski, Schaefer, Rabinski, Rempe, and Davidson trying to answer. Luca Cagnoni a takeaway, clear to center. From DeLorme with more pressure, left wing, Seattle zone, dropping it left side, cross Annis up high, save is made, rebound to the net, and somehow Milic got his glove on that one, and we have 12:23 to go, 1:25 left here on the penalty to the Winterhawks.
Nice behind the back pass there from Robbie from DeLorme, catches it, catches Milic up high, and you can see they're not quite sure exactly where the puck is, but it's right between the pads and Milic. So a nice save there. Portland trying for 2 shorthanded goals. And this is what Matt Odette saw on the power play last night. Not a lot of puck movement, not creating a lot of scoring chances. And he's going to try eventually to get that top line back out there with 1:25 to go. But Portland so far taking control here of this 5-minute penalty.
It matches a trend that we have seen in the National Hockey League recently. Penalty kill units becoming more aggressive, and that really feeds into what this Portland team can do with the speed that they can generate and the skill they have out there as well. Seattle brings it back in. Sveikovsky turned away by Jaden DeRoe. Roulette held the line. Now it's Mijatovic, right circle, down low. Sveikovsky, 1-touch feed across, missed his man. Roulette picks it up from the corner. 57 to go on the infraction for the Winterhawks. Konashko off to the right point. Sveikovsky out of the top. Konashko looking out to Roulette. His snapshot into the pads of Marek Alscher and cleared back out by Portland.
Second time we've seen a Portland defenseman get down and block a shot. Ryder Thompson early on in the penalty kill. Marek Alscher. Mike Johnson has pointed out these young defensemen loves the way they're playing.
Reed Schaefer deflects this one of the skates of Alscher. 30 seconds in the double minor left as Davidson sets up at the hash marks. Out of the corner, left point feed to Korchinski. Skips off his stick. Having to shake off Marcus Nguyen. Seattle reroutes Davidson. Penalty coming up now against the Thunderbirds as this one set down by Nguyen. Bauer touches up, and it will be the tables turned right here with just 10 seconds left. On the Shazowski double minor, and now Matthew Rempe will take a seat here in the box.
Talk about a double whammy there. I mean, you mentioned it, Mike. Only 10 seconds left on that 5-minute double minor. And so we're going to get 4-on-4 hockey here for just a moment before Chazowski comes back on the ice. But not only does Portland score a shorthanded goal on that 5-minute penalty, they also are able to basically kill it off, and then they're going to get a power play out of it. So early momentum in favor of Portland right now.
4-on-4 action for a bit. We'll share more after this. Very brief 4-on-4 time as the door of opportunity opening here for the Winterhawks, and Seattle trying to get through a bump in the road with Portland up 1-0.
This is a big penalty kill here early for Seattle. They don't want to fall down 2-0 with Portland and the firepower they have.
Hannes from up high, he scores! Right off the stick of Clay Hannes. It appeared to deflect in off Gabe Klassen. And not even into the Portland man advantage. They get a 4-on-4 goal, and they're off to the races. Up 2-0.
Something Seattle is going to be upset about. Portland gets a timeout out of this. They're able to get a face-off in their offensive zone. They draw up a play. They win the face-off, and it's Clay Hannes, who's one of the top-scoring defensemen in the Western Hockey League. He has been lights out. Gabe Klassen had 3 goals in his last 5 games, making 4 goals in his last 6. A great deflection, skating right to the front of the net. That's the last thing Seattle needed here early on in enemy territory.
You wonder what that bus felt like as they drove back home off an overtime win last night to come back home and play this evening. It appears that momentum carrying over. Already out to a 2-0 lead. The seats are barely warm this evening as Jaden DeRose sets up left side. And to the point, it's out of the reach of Clay Honus as we're into the power play now.
Not to repeat what I just said about 90 seconds ago, but now this next minute and 30 is key because Portland's going to have a power play here continuing, and this is going to be a big stretch here for Seattle early in this game.
Winterhawks in the Oregon Lottery Powerball power play already out to a 2-0 lead in a fast start for the Winterhawks as Stefan over left boards. Threw down to the corner, Chase Lacombe retrieves, looking off Tyrell Bauer. Right off glass, all the way down.
Nice clear of the puck, able to get some fresh legs on the ice, and this is a Seattle penalty-killing unit that we highlighted has been very good this year, top 3 in the Western Hockey League, and similar to their power play, they're even better on the road at 84%.
They are a threat as well to score shorthanded. They have 10 shorthanded goals this season. Here's Litke's save is made. Rebound turned away. Of Shazowski, loose puck from Delorme. Out of traffic. From Delorme tracks it down. Resets Cagnoni to Shazowski. Slap pass deflects over left side from Delorme. Just missed the net. The Winterhawks are pouring it on, threatening to open the floodgates early. As Litke, low to high, Cagnoni. His wrist shot blocked by his own man from Delorme, and that's cleared back down by Sam Popovich.
Yeah, it's great possession time, though, there for Portland. They're controlling the puck. They're passing it well. They're creating scoring chances. They're getting bodies in front of Milic to block his view.
Tyrell Bauer, a takeaway. Looking for the open man. Oremba gave it right back. Here's Litke, but again stolen. And Oremba cruising on through center. Winterhawks getting 2 defensemen back. Here's Davidson. Glove save by Taylor Gauthier. 8:56 left in period 1. Jared Davidson tried to ticket one for the upper corner. And Gauthier's glove keeps it 2-0.
Yeah, you see the feed to set him up. A beautiful shot, trying to go top shelf and beat him glove side. We highlighted Davidson, who has just been terrific as of late, missing a little time with an injury. Coming back, he's been on fire. He scored 2 goals last night, and they're winning home over Tri-City. 78 points on the season, but Gauthier says not so fast that time.
Davidson points in 4 straight. He's got 9 overall in that stretch. So the Thunderbirds into a 2-0 hold are out of the shorthanded situation, back to 5 aside. So we'll see what they can make out of that. Davidson a takeaway, and Sawyer Minio trying to retrieve his pass far boards. Pinned by Shelter as Davidson trying to jam it free. Out of the point, Marek Alsher teed one up low. Thomas Milic spread that one all the way. Korchinski heaves a long pass ahead out of the reach of Connor Roulette. That goes for an icing call with 8:15 to go here in period 1. And again, Portland up by 2.
It's interesting, Seattle getting off to a slow start. Matt Odette highlighted after the game. They won last night against Tri-City, but he wasn't happy about their performance because they built a 5-0 lead, and he felt like they took their foot off the gas, and they allowed him back into the game. They ended up winning 6-4, but when you see a 5-0 lead turn into a 5-4 lead, he said he wanted to see a better effort, and I figured you'd see that early on here tonight because of the playoff atmosphere and everything on the line, but it's been the story of Portland here early on in this game.
Lucas Fejkovsky, pair of goals in that one. A centering attempt as DeRoe just had to go out of his reach. And Connor Roulette right side. Chip to center ice. Davidson follows up. Put it back into the Winterhawk defense. DeRoe collecting. Seattle changing as DeRoe flips it in. Wide of the glove side corner of Thomas Milic. Benashko back on defense. Given away. A centering attempt by Klassen rolls through. Smythe spins it in behind the cage, and Stefan off for Klassen. Bouncer in front, save, rebound. The horn goes off, no light, no official indication. Now a sharp bangle bid by Smythe.
Here we go.
Milic grabs that one. Chaos all over the place. 7:32 to go in period 1. I believe it stays 2-0.
Let's take a look at the replay. As Portland just dumped it in, they're able to win possession on a turnover. They send one in front. It's DeRoe standing right there, and the puck's bouncing around. Hard to get a look at if anything went in, but the light didn't go off. The horn did. Horn guy was a little quick on the trigger. Get a second look at it. Little pushing and shoving after the play. Nah, did not go in. It didn't look like so. Right call, and Portland a near 3-0 lead early in this one.
We can assume the Horn had a little bit of extra cup of coffee before tonight's game.
Everybody's excited. Playoff atmosphere, hockey. Less than 2 weeks to go in the regular season. Just a little quick on the trigger.
Hey, we're playing hockey in April. That excites anybody and anything. Nico Majatovic now left wing. Nice pass. Here's Vakovsky, and a save is made by Gauthier. One of the better looks that Seattle has earned so far, as they're still down by 2. And Hannes handing off for Jack O'Brien to center. It's out of the reach of Alsher, and Korchinski bumping one to the neutral zone. This one now taken by Hannes. In the backdraft, Clay Hannes will spin it back in behind the Seattle net. Milic for Bauer, and now Jack O'Brien off a giveaway. A centering attempt was taken away by Matthew Rempe. Vakovsky trying to outmaneuver Nguyen. We'll throw this one back in as roulette. Davidson and Minio off the bench for Seattle. McCleary to Nguyen. Relay to center, broken up. Konashko. Portland recovers, and Cagnoni is offside with 6:35 to go in period 1. The Winterhawks out to a fast start on their own home ice. They lead 2-0. Coliseum getting close to filling up tonight for April hockey. Not many more games here on the slate, which means the excitement for playoff time. Meanwhile, here 2-0 Winterhawks over the Thunderbirds. Mike Benton, Andy Johnson with you. Last time these two teams will meet in this regular season series. After this, who knows? And this could be a great playoff matchup. This one chipped by Roulette over. Left corner, big hit. Sam Popowich laying the body on McCleary. Loose puck, Davidson rolled one to the net and scooped up by Taylor Gauthier, as the two teams nearly have tempers flare. It requires more of the officials to jump in.
Not happy about a little contact. It looked like that happened after the whistle with Gauthier. I believe it was Connor Roulette who just bumped into him ever so slightly, but preceding that was a big hit in the corner as McCleary goes to get the puck, and you're going to see Popowich come in and deliver a nice clean check to the back of McCleary into the boards, and that just sets the tone here early from a physical standpoint. That's only going to continue. You mentioned playing hockey in April. I mean, you got to remember 2 years ago we had the season cut short, no playoffs. Last year a COVID-shortened season, no postseason. So these teams are fired up to finish the last 2 weeks of the regular season.
A lot of players who are in line to get their first taste of playoff action. Thunderbirds had a great moment 17 years ago on this day in the playoffs. More on that in a bit. Inside 6 minutes left here in period 1. Winterhawks up 2-0, and Seattle trying to stop the bleeding. There's now Schaefer ahead. Rabinski possible 2-on-1. He shoots. Save is made by Gauthier. Henrik Rabinski tried to play sniper, and Gauthier got the best of it. Jaden Duro looking to break one free here for Gabe Clausen, but taken away. Korchinski. The relay to Oremba. As now Schaefer backpedaling in his zone into the red line. He'll spin one back in, fresh off the CHL Prospects game. Ryder Thompson a takeaway is on the center. Red will drive it back in. Blocker to glove set on Thomas Milic. Into the right corner. Lacombe stops this one side of the net. Milic will cover up, and we have 5:08 left. No surprise again. A little more how do you do's between these two teams, and we're just talking about earlier that playoff accomplishment 17 years ago today. The Thunderbirds finished the Tri-City Americans in 5 games, a run that ended in an epic yet heartbreaking 7-game finish to Kelowna in round 2. That'd be the last playoff series win in T-Bird colors for Nate Thompson, Derek Couture, and Zach Fitzgerald.
Yeah, some big-time names, and it's the first time Seattle's won 40 games in a season since their WHL championship in 2016-2017, so they're getting back to building that playoff pedigree, and obviously last couple of years that was impacted by COVID.
Also tracked down a notable playoff moment on the Portland side. We'll share more later. As now Shelter trying to clear, but kept in by Majatovic, and a hand pass against the Thunderbirds. Vakovsky exchanging some lumber jabs with the Winterhawks' Marek Alsher. That about stirs the Hornets' nest nearby the glass. Like Chase Lacombe and Clay Hannes were this close to dropping the gloves.
A couple couple of guys going to the box. They're getting the fingers. You can hear the official. That's a great job by our crew telling everybody who's going to the box. I have a feeling a couple of bodies are going to be skating over that way. Clay Hannes is for sure to start for Portland. Anybody for Seattle? That's the question. And is Portland going to get, or Seattle? Yeah, Lacombe's going to go with them. So Lacombe and Hannes nearly fought, as you just mentioned, Mike, and you saw that Svejkovsky and Marek Alsher kind of started that, where he gave him a couple of jabs with the stick right after the play, and it's just going to be the case all night. I mean, these guys are fired up for this time of year, and as we've highlighted, there's a chance they could meet in the postseason. And again, it's why this game is so important, because you want that third overall seed to potentially get home ice in that potential playoff series between your bitter rival, either up north or down south.
You love emotion, you love this game, you love playoff time. This is the time of year for you. So 4-on-4 for a minute 48. These two teams can play with open ice, as Jack O'Brien just missing on a toss ahead too far across Annis. That goes for icing, and we have 4:22 to go here in period one.
Yeah, no surprise for Seattle to start this 4-on-4 stretch. They put out their top scorers and now going to change up lines. Rybinski and Roulette coming out. Minio and Korchinski alongside them, but a 4-on-4 situation. Earlier on in the game, we saw Portland score right off the bat with a face-off, and face-offs that you can win in these shorthanded situations or even strength situations of 4-on-4 are so important.
To the left of Gauthier, and Cross Annis collecting as Portland scoots out to center. Annis out to McLeary. He's open. His pass in front and knocked down by traffic. McLeary looking across for Hannes. Trying to buy some space against Rybinski. Off a tie-up with Cagnoni, and Seattle frees it. And Korchinski will carry the mail to center. Roulette into the slot. Rybinski waits. He's open. Save is made by Gauthier, and a rebound just scoots wide. Centering attempt won't count. Whistle blows. Bucket knocked off of Taylor Gauthier.
Be curious to get a look at this replay and see how that happened. Seattle was pretty close to a wraparound chance there. As we'll get a look, Korchinski feeds it to Roulette initially, and eventually Rybinski is going to send that shot in, and he grabs his own rebound, able to swing it around, and it just looked like some inadvertent contact. The helmet came off, and obviously the whistle gets blown right away in that situation.
Henrik Rybinski recently signing with the Washington Capitals. Now securing his NHL future. 3-year entry-level deal after being drafted and unsigned by the Florida Panthers. As this one sent down by the Winterhawks. That goes for icing, and we have 3:42 to go in period one.
You'd love to see that. I mean, this time of year, there's guys that we get a chance to watch up close, more so than maybe some other fans, and you just kind of question, why hasn't the contract been signed yet? I know Rybinski is undoubtedly that way for Seattle. We've mentioned Cross Annis, who finally signed his entry-level contract. Gauthier's been the biggest head scratcher for me, the way he's played. Why hasn't that guy gotten an opportunity? So to see 3 players in this game sign those contracts here in the last couple of weeks, it reminds you of what this level is all about and the quality of talent that you get to watch.
Taylor Gauthier's future is secured. As far as Rybinski, whopping 50 points in 35 games. Many saying he was the best CHL free agent by a mile. Washington locked him up. Off he goes onto the pros for the next step. As Robbie From DeLorme into the corner for Ryder Thompson. Trying to shake off Svejkovsky and behind the net. And shipped off the net. Recovering is Shazowski for Portland. Slings one back to the wide open Smythe. Now it is Thompson with 15 to go on the 4-on-4. And behind for From DeLorme, centering attempt. Who wants it? 50-50 puck. It's Kyle Shazowski's as he spins back toward the line, looking for his man Cagnoni off the bench. Alsher frees it back to 5 aside. And to the Portland bench goes Clay Hannes. And along to center ice, a puck cleared by Seattle. Lawson brings it back in, looking for space. Sharp angle bid. Turned away, no problem for Thomas Milic. Winterhawks get the first 2, but Seattle has begun to stop the bleeding as Cagnoni, long toss ahead. Dero snapshot, just missed the net. Jaden Dero trying to go bar down nearly. Counter-attack Oremba. Winterhawk zone, sharp angle bid, nullified as he was checked by Alsher. Out of the corner. Cagnoni will take it behind the net now with inside 2 minutes left Gives this one away. Here's Hansel in front, and a backdoor feed just out of the reach of Oremba. And a penalty coming up with 1:52 to play in the first period.
This is the exact break that Seattle needed here late in this period, trying to find some life. And I think a lot of this was set up. Merrick Alsher for Portland lost his stick. It's going to be Clausen going to the box, but he lost his stick, and so he skated off early. And that let the outlet man down as Portland didn't have a place to go with the puck. It creates a turnover. And there you see the call right there on Clausen as Hansel was driving in front of the net. So Seattle's going to get another opportunity here with a man advantage with 1:52 to go in the period and a chance to change some of the momentum here in this game.
Thunderbirds on their third Planet Fitness power play, 0 for 2 officially tonight. That comes off the heels of the Shazowski double minor, which Portland scored shorthanded. If Seattle can get one here, that would be a big momentum swing before the end of the first. Portland off the clear. Korchinski ahead to Rybinski. Gains center red. Looking at the wide open Matthew Rempe. Out of the point, Korchinski, their quarterback. Here's Davidson. Out of the top, Korchinski. Now Davidson. Left circle. Back to Korchinski. Cross ice. Rybinski firing, blocked. And clear back out by Jack O'Brien.
Gautier's got to love to see that. That one was Curtis Smythe, and it's been a theme on the penalty kill. Portland's defensemen taking that knee, turning the body, and blocking shots in front of their goaltender.
Korchinski, Davidson, Schaefer, Rybinski, and Rempe, the five-man unit. As Rempe brings it in, fell down, back for Korchinski. His shot blocked. Rebound! Gauthier to save on Reed Schaefer. Minute left, and Gauthier once more turns away a toughie. Korchinski from center point, missed the net. Loose puck in behind the cage. Rybinski back out for Davidson. Out of the top, Korchinski. Left side for Davidson, and just missed it short side. Korchinski steers a rolling puck. Davidson off the left circle. Look to the slot, out of the reach of Schaefer, and cleared back down by Ryder Thompson.
No goal, 1:20 into this power play, but still much better puck possession, passing, tape to tape, getting some clean looks, and Matthew Rempe in that big frame just camped right in front of Gauthier. That was a good start to the power play for Seattle. It doesn't always result in a goal, but Matt Odette wants to see puck possession. He wants to see quick tape-to-tape passes, and they had it there, creating a couple of good scoring chances.
Portland breaking up an entry attempt by the Thunderbirds as that one to their bench. With 18.5 to go in period one, the Thunderbirds will get an offensive zone faceoff. And going with a fresh unit of Mijatovic, Popovich, Roulette, Hansel, and Svejkovsky. Forward set up for Matt Odette. As off the draw, it is Roulette out of the point for Hansel. Right side, Svejkovsky, and just missed the net. Connor Roulette into the corner, sharp angle bid sails through, 5 seconds left. Svejkovsky to the net, save is made by Gauthier, and a sharp rebound is center as that drains the clock for period one. 2 goals by Portland. They come early, and that takes them to a 2-0 cushion. Winterhawks up 2-0 on the Thunderbirds at the end of one. Well, it's playoff time after the 11th straight season. The Winterhawks will play for the WHL championship. One of the hottest teams in hockey, eager to give Portland another title, so you can watch future NHL stars right here in your backyard when the playoffs begin April 22nd. Don't miss the action. Playoff package. You can take advantage of a discounted group rate with tickets starting as low as $13. Get your playoff tickets now at winterhawks.com. 20 minutes down, 40 to go. I'm Mike Benton, he's Andy Johnson. So far we have seen special teams play a big difference with Portland taking advantage of a short burst in period one.
I mean, Seattle's going to have 8 seconds left on that power play to open the second period, so maybe a quick opportunity there if you win the faceoff. But really has been the story. Portland scoring a shorthanded goal and then able to kill off all those Seattle penalties. And that on top of Taylor Gauthier, and that's how you get to a 2-0 lead. Here's a look at that first goal from Jaden DeRoe, the shorthanded one on a breakaway opportunity. And right now, shots on goal pretty even, 11-10. Seattle aided, obviously, by those penalties, but in the goal department, that's where it matters, and Portland up 2-0.
Shots on goal are brought to you by Michelob Ultra for those who go the extra mile. So Portland certainly went the extra mile with Jaden DeRoe getting a shorthanded goal, then all of a sudden, a face-off win, chipping into a 2-0 advantage, and that is where we stand at the end of one period of play. More to share with you as far as these two teams and their future around the corner. The beauty and scenery of Portland, Oregon right now and under one roof. 2 goals for the Winterhawks in a span of 2 minutes and 4 seconds have them out to a 2-0 lead.
Take a look at the highlights right off the bat. It was Jaden DeRoe in a shorthanded situation, something that Portland hasn't excelled at this year. That's only their 5th shorthanded goal of the season, but that was a big blow for Seattle early. They had a 5-minute double minor. They were unable to score, and Portland scores a shorthanded goal, and then Taylor Gauthier took over from there as Seattle has been unable to solve him, whether it's at even strength or whether it's with the man advantage. He's made a ton of great saves, and then here in a 4-on-4 situation, Portland wins the faceoff after a timeout, and it's Clay Hannes sending it in. Getting the deflection was Gabe Klassen, who's now one off of James Stefan for the team lead, his 32nd on the season. So Portland, a couple of heavy hitters with goals early in the first period, and hey, it's Portland in Seattle. What else would you expect other than a little pushing and shoving?
Scoring summary brought to you by Les Schwab Tires. Doing the right thing matters. Jaden DeRoe got the Winterhawks on the board, 6:53, and what was really a tone-defining goal of this one, but the Winterhawks weren't done after that. Point shot that you also saw. It was off the stick of Clay Hannes, Gabe Klassen, the deflection at the front of the net to make it a 2-0 Winterhawk lead. And that is where we stand right now at the end of one period of play. So Portland gets their fast start, but Seattle turning momentum back a little more on their side toward the end of period 1.
I think their forecheck's going to be really important in the second period. We saw Portland use their forecheck to create a couple of turnovers, get scoring chances. You got to get dirty goals, you got to get greasy goals, and we'll see if that helps them here in the second period.
We'll see what unfolds here for period 2 coming up in this final matchup between these two teams for regular season play. The Winterhawks up by 2. Into period number 2. Under that historic roof, the Coliseum, and the home of the Blazers not too far away and right across the street at Moda Center. Winterhawks have for a long time split home ice between the two venues, but last season and now this year, 100% of the home schedule in this building. And when they pack it out, it can get loud and cause a tidal wave of emotion. And the Winterhawks right now taking advantage of that, up 2-0 as we head into period 2. Mike Benton, Andy Johnson with you. Last time these two teams will meet in regular season play. 4 games to go after this. Here's DeRoe behind the pack on net. He scores! Just 21 seconds into period 2. Jaden DeRoe's got 2 goals in this game. And the Winterhawks extend the lead to 3-0.
That's why the Tampa Bay Lightning drafted this guy, and he's heading for an NHL career as that just goes right through the legs of Bauer. What a great individual effort from Jaden DeRoe, and Seattle's getting pretty sick and tired of seeing him. He had a hat trick against them a couple of weeks ago. He's got 2 so far here tonight as he goes right between the legs of Bauer, goes top shelf, stick side. That is as pretty a goal as you're going to see.
That's a 7-point last 4 games now for Jaden DeRoe, and had a talk with Mike Johnston a while back saying that he's got all the tools, and the compete element was just the last piece that he had to add. Well, compete he is doing so far tonight. With a 2-goal effort, the Winterhawks send it down. This goes for an icing call, and the climb uphill now for Seattle has gotten a bit steeper. It's 3-0 in favor of Portland.
Remind yourself, too, that Seattle started the period, albeit only 8 seconds, but at least they had 8 seconds with a man advantage. They couldn't win the opening faceoff to set something up, and then Portland jumps on them within the first minute of the second period. But this is a Seattle team that knows how to get back into games. They know how to climb back. Both these teams have the offensive firepower to do it, and it's about, when you're in charge and in the lead, keeping your mental focus and staying on top of your opponent.
4 wins Seattle has this season when trailing after 1. Here's Davidson firing, and a save made by Gauthier. Rebound cross Hannes clears. From DeLorme trying to burst ahead of the pack once again. Konosko catching up. Force this one to center ice. Cagnoni and McCleary back on defense. Cross Hannes trying to chip and chase right past Connor Roulette. Mijatovic back in now for Roulette right side. On the side of the circle, centering Mijatovic on net and turned away by Taylor Gauthier. Reppy around to the far boards. From DeLorme trying to spin it out. Kept in Korchinski. Shot deflecting off of Cagnoni as now Rempe and McCleary tangled up. And the Winterhawks recover as Shazowski. Reds one ahead to center, and From DeLorme's got one job. Stashed that one in deep. And Portland sends out a fresh unit of 5. Their lead at 3 with now 2 minutes gone in period 2. Littke right side, checked by Korchinski and Rempe. Up the left boards, turned back by Shazowski and deep into the Seattle zone. Korchinski this way, up the wing for Oremba. He'll flip it in, pursuing. And trying to scoot on past his man. This one chipped aside. Shazowski trying to clear. Koster-Dunn kept it in. Oremba looking across. Here's Minio to the net and blocked by traffic. Rabinski recovers and knocked down by Clay Honus. As it's thrown back, Lacombe point shot. Knocked down by Ulsher. And the Winterhawks push this one ahead to center. Marcus Nguyen knocked down and tripping up Lacombe. This one goes uncalled once again. And they're just going to let him play on, it seems, at this point, Andy.
I think both teams thought there for a moment on either side there should have been a penalty called. Both teams upset. Maybe it isn't a 4-on-4 situation. And a shout out to Merrick Ulsher for taking one to the chest like Happy Gilmore.
Here's Bevington from the corner. Deflection in front. They score! All the bounces going the way of the Winterhawks right now. Last touch, I believe, Josh Morey. It's his second. It's 4-0 Portland.
How about this bottom line for Portland? Bevington starting it. Morey in there, a defenseman who's jumping up as a forward tonight, playing as an extra body. As he's just going to, Bevington that is, hold the puck and flick one out in front of the net, and it's just going to bounce around. And Morey, I guess, is the last one to get his stick on it, but you said it great, partner. Sometimes bounces are going your way, and this has been Portland's night. You put bodies in front of the net, you score a greasy goal, and just like that, you're up 4-0.
So Dero, Clausen, and now Josh Morey has entered the chat. It is his second goal of the season, and Seattle desperate to look for anything as far as a spark. But it has all come up roses, part of the expression here in the Rose Quarter for the team wearing the red jersey. Along to center ice, Ryder Thompson looking for cross-handers. Spun away, Hansel lets it go for Svejkovsky. A puck out of the reach of Connor Roulette. And Ryder Thompson back to play. It's Jack O'Brien along to center. Right wing from DeLorme. Knocked away Konashko. Loose puck kept in. Ryan McCleary. Throwing him back of the goal. From DeLorme, centering attempt. Jammed away. Korchinski back to play. It's Svejkovsky to the neutral zone. Left side for Connor Roulette. Off for Svejkovsky. A backhander wide of the net. Dero up the left wing. Along for Clausen as Portland counters. Just escaping the hit of Tyrell Bauer. Korchinski far boards kept in. Dero plays this one around now. Blocker side corner of Millage. Left side Dero already with 2 goals, shoots it wide of the net. So Josh Morey at 3-11 from Bevington and Shelter to make it 4-0. And if Portland gets one more, this is turning into a runaway.
And what a big win this would be in regulation for Portland. We started the broadcast highlighting how important that 3rd seed is in the Western Conference. You want that favorable matchup in the first round. You want to stay away from Kelowna if you can in the opening round of the playoffs. So Portland feels like if they can get 2 points tonight and get a win in regulation, you move 5 points up on Seattle with only 4 games to go in the regular season. And that's why tonight was so important, and Seattle's going to have to find a way to climb uphill. But both these teams know that they're capable of not only blowing leads, but also climbing back into games. Seattle let Tri-City back into the game last night. Portland had a game against Vancouver. They were down 6-0 and scored 5 unanswered goals, so no lead is ever safe in the WHL.
This one thrown back in by the Winterhawks. Offside is the call as we take a look here at our special teams report, and we touched on this already with penalty killing, Andy. Very strong for these 2 teams. That sets themselves up well here for playoff time.
It really does. The penalty killing, both top 4 in the WHL, virtually tied there at 3rd and 4th. the power play unit. Seattle is great on the road at 30%, #1 in the Western Hockey League. Portland slightly higher than them overall in the season, but Seattle hasn't had the chance many times this year to have that top power play unit out there because of injuries.
Special teams report brought to you by Beacon Plumbing. Stop freaking. Call Beacon. I've always wanted to say that. Taking the cue from Marshawn Lynch and Bobby Wagner. 14:27 to go as now Rybinski in back of the goal trying to shake off Jack O'Brien. Left corner Gabe Ludwig. This is now Rybinski running one back. Open is Konashko. Low to the net and turned away by Gauthier. Popowich drilled him back in the cage. The battle in the trenches continue here as a loose puck to Jack O'Brien.
Another one Seattle's bench was not happy about. They thought that should have been a penalty.
Loose puck side of the goal as Schaefer. Into the right corner trying to support Popowich as he was dealing with Jack O'Brien. Threaded back out of the reach of Korchinski. Into the Seattle zone it goes, and Portland gets a wholesale change.
It's one of those nights where everything Portland does, they just seem one step ahead of Seattle. The passing has been clean. They're winning those 50-50 battles. They're winning the battles along the boards, and it's something when all those things are going in your favor, you look up at the scoreboard, you're going to find yourself up 4-0.
Korchinski and Bauer back on defense as Davidson turns it over. Clausen returned to center. Bauer is there trying to bump it in. Portland takes it back, and Clausen just missing one as he had Korchinski a step ahead. Reed Schaefer. Cross ice, Jared Davidson. He's flattened now by Ryder Thompson. Portland bench reacts to that hit. A couple of Ric Flair chances, sounds like, that came off that bench as well. 12:53 to go here in this second period. This one's dashed back in by the Winterhawks. Bauer back to play. Long row back on recovery from injury is now a giveaway. Lidke brings it in, shot up high, save is made. Heads up, Thomas Milic. He lost the helmet. And both goaltenders are even now as far as that loose bucket. Back in a moment, the Winterhawks with the first 4 on the board in this one. Final matchup between these two teams. Mike Benton, Andy Johnson with you. Glad he can be along with us. Loose puck now to the front, and a save is made by Thomas Milic. And that coming from out of nowhere, courtesy Marcus Nguyen. Quick counter Mijatovic, bouncer in front, and covered up by Taylor Gauthier. Frustrations begin to boil. Looked like Svejkovsky got in there, and Kyle Szaszowski was after him. And about a near Donnybrook breaking out in that far corner, which requires the attention of every official. And Svejkovsky a little hot under the collar. He's first to come out of the pile, and he'll go take a seat.
Davidson and Merrick Alsher losing their helmets. I think this all starts because there's again contact with the goaltender. You see right there, just not a lot, just a slight little stick, but that's the second time tonight that Portland feels like at least Seattle has touched their goaltender late after the whistle. That's a no-no for defensemen who are trying to protect their netminders. So you immediately see Merrick Alsher get in there with Davidson. Svejkovsky's in there as well. So this is only going to heat up. And I think both coaches now at this point, obviously, we've seen it in the NHL recently. You see a couple of your top scorers heading to the penalty box. You just want to make sure that they're staying healthy because we know the postseason is 2 weeks away.
Seattle on their side. Many who follow this team know they've had their share of injury issues to deal with, as more of a chat going on here with referee Jeff Ingram. Plehanis a part of that, Crossanis as well. And you give credit here to Seattle about how much they have had to handle these injuries and the record that they have put up. A 40-win campaign. That's arguably the finest that Matt O'Dette has patched together here since he took over for Steve Konowalchuk.
It really is, and every time it feels like Seattle says internally, hey, we're getting close to being healthy. Hey, we feel like we got our full complement of guys back. It's almost like whack-a-mole. 2 guys will come back, and 1 guy will hit the injury list. And the only good news, at least for them, is at least, you know, Mackay Sanders, you don't want to lose an energy guy like that for the entire season. But of all the guys who are out of the lineup at this point, he's the only one that's lost for the year. So a lot of the other players that we've gotten to know, obviously, throughout the season, they're hoping and knocking on wood that they'll be back come playoff time. But It's just funny how sports works that way. There's just some years you can't catch a break, and that's kind of been the case for Seattle, and you feel great that you won 40 games despite all those injuries.
He's out. Jordan Gustafson, 50 points, 55 games. He's scratched. Leon Okonkwo-Prada, Ryan Gottfried, and Lucas Siona as well, as we get a look. Playoffs almost here on the Thunderbird side. Groups of 10 or more can save 40%. Text group to 253-239-7825.
They're close to locking up home ice. Can't quite do it tonight, but 8 points up on Kelowna for that 4-5 matchup, as they're getting close to locking up home ice for both of these teams. Portland 3 points away and Seattle a little bit further, but that'd be big for both of them to get home ice.
So it will be a Thunderbird power play here. Has a shot left side. Roulette, he scores! The Thunderbirds are on the board. A power play goal and off the blade of Connor Roulette with 12:19 to go in the second period. His 23rd of the season. The Thunderbirds are on the board, down 4-1.
Another NHL draft prospect scoring in this game tonight, the 4th-round pick from Dallas. And how about Seattle returning some of the medicine to Portland? We saw Portland win a face-off, set up a play, and find a way to score. Seattle does the same thing right to open this power play. And a nice goal from Connor Roulette as he's able to inch Seattle a little bit closer. And still with 12:19 left in this period, they feel like they're back within striking distance.
Planet Fitness power play goal there for the Thunderbirds, and Roulette now got 6 points last 3 games. This game is picking up at the right time again. From Delorme turned away by Thomas Milic. Loose puck this side for Sam Popowich. Out of the red line, he'll thread it in. Right corner, Reed Schaefer. Backhander turned away. Luca Cagnoni picks it up. Seattle converting off that mistake as far as emotion. Now here's Rubinski off a giveaway and took it wide. Worked one in front. Popowich, he scores! Bang, bang! And Seattle tacking on 2 quick ones. At about the midway portion of period 2. Sam Popowich from in tight picks up his 8th. And guess what? It's a 2-goal game.
Rubinski's the one that sets this up. It's all started because a Hawks defenseman falls down and loses his stick. That leaves Portland without a defender in front of their goaltender. You see the stick go flying, and he's able to just kind of flick it, no look, right back in front of the net. And Popowich, one of those greasy goals. They scored those last night against Tri-City. You get to the blue paint, find a way to get your stick on the puck. They do, and they cut this deficit in half.
Sam Popowich, a 5th-round draft pick in 2019 for the Thunderbirds. GM Bill LaForge has always loved his motor and his hockey IQ in that motor, making an impact to make it a 2-goal game. Giroux to the front of the net, just missed his man to the crease. Onto the point now, a shot by Stefan, just deflecting wide, and Thomas Milic will cover up to his left. 11:20 left in period 2. So were you thinking about changing that dial? It is now a 2-goal game.
I mean, we say it, it's not just a broadcaster line. No lead is safe in the WHL. These two teams have the firepower, and we've seen them both allow deficits to deplete or for themselves to climb back into games throughout the course of a season. And it's funny, when you get that momentum on your side and you start believing, sometimes all it takes is one. And Seattle able to get that first. They start working a little harder. You win a 50-50 battle. You force a turnover. You get a greasy goal. And now this next couple of minute stretch becomes really important for Portland.
And now a 2-on-2 developing, but Schaefer gives this one away. So a bump of 5 penalties at 7:32. Szaszowski the outstanding one for roughing. Connor Roulette from Kevin Korchinski at 7:41. Then Popowich from Rubinski and Reed Schaefer at 8:26. All of a sudden now Seattle needs just one more, and they're right back into the game. Clay Hannes back to play behind the Portland net. Out with Curtis Smythe. And Seattle dispatching Koster Dunn, Henrik Rubinski, and Sam Popowich up front. Portland heaves this one in. Popowich is there. Crosshand is a takeaway on the walkout right side, and his shot blocked by Konashko. Out of play with 10:29 to go here in period 2. A little bit of a fly-by episode involving Konashko and a Winterhawk.
That was Cross Hannes. He just gave him a little cross check as he was skating over to the bench, and trying to sit down immediately before they send him over to the penalty box, because that's the last thing Seattle wants with this momentum on their side. I don't know what led Konashko to do that to Cross-Annis, but clearly something happened that he wasn't happy about, and he let him know about it on his way to sit down.
Samuel Konashko earning a bronze medal in the Olympics. Centering attempt in the right corner by From Delorme off of traffic. Big hit by Cross-Annis. Left side is now Rubinski. Laid out Jack O'Brien. And now Rubinski going right after Ryder Thompson. And a penalty coming up on Seattle. It's going to be a charging call.
Going to be on Rubinski, and Ryder Thompson tried to get up and say something after the play. You see O'Brien having a conversation with him. Rubinski's not happy about this call. We'll take a look at it, but that was 3 huge hits in a span of about 15 seconds on each side. Portland started it, then Seattle, and then Rubinski finishes it off with the 3rd hit, as it's going to be in along the boards. We'll see there, From Delorme sends one in. That was the first one from Cross-Annis. That got everybody going. Rubinski delivered a hit there, and then back on the other side. There's your call. As Seattle now committing another penalty, and right when you get some momentum on your side, this penalty kill becomes huge for both teams. Portland trying to re-seize control of this game, and Seattle trying to find that penalty kill that they've had the last couple of weeks.
Rubinski takes a seat for charging. Thunderbirds clear the Winterhawks on the Oregon Lottery Powerball power play. This also a potentially crucial 2-minute stretch. The Winterhawks once up 4-0. It is now 4-2. Jaden DeRoe will flip it in. Bauer retrieves. Portland kept it alive. Hannes off for Cross-Annis. Off his stick, deflects in deep. Bauer trying to clear ahead and down by Svejkovsky. Reed Schaefer jumping off bench. As Seattle rotating quickly here for the 4-man unit. Sam Popovich also a fresh body out there with Hansel and Tyrell Bauer. Cross-Annis left side, off for Stefan. Try to redirect one to the net, and a routine cover-up for Thomas Milic.
You see, anytime you get a chance to cover that puck up, you want to of your Milic, and in these situations, face-offs are so important. We saw Portland earlier in the game scoring a 4-on-4 situation, set play off of the face-off. That's how we saw Seattle get on the board, a face-off in front of Gauthier. They won a couple of quick passes and a clean look, so face-offs are huge, especially when you're trying to kill a penalty.
Matthew Reppy jumping out against Jack O'Brien. The Winterhawks, a clean face-off, went for the point, Cagnoni, and just missed the net. Szaszowski retrieves, handing off for Nguyen, and a bad point pass to center it goes. Here comes Reed Schaefer, pulls up right side, open ice, backhander on, and turned away by Gauthier after a nifty set of moves. Schaefer stick handling to the inside, and just lost the puck as Schaefer's upended, and he's hurt. And a penalty coming up here with 8:49 to go for charging.
How about that individual effort from Reed Schaefer? That was just energy and hustle that is going to lead here to a Portland penalty. Is the first one, he just puts the brakes on, and it creates a shorthanded scoring opportunity, and then it's just him battling with 2 Winterhawks. He wins the one-on-one battle, and Portland commits the penalty. So a game that has been a roller coaster to this point in terms of momentum. Every time you think one team has it, Portland lets a 4-goal lead slip to 2. Portland gets a power play to re-seize control, and now only 39 seconds remain on that, and we'll get 39 seconds of 4-on-4 hockey before Seattle gets a power play.
So a sequence that Matt O'Dette has got to be happy with back on the Seattle bench, as Jack O'Brien will take a seat. So 4-on-4 time now for a little under 40 seconds. As O'Brien takes a seat, here's Svejkovsky, right side, Mijatovic, and a save is made by Gauthier. Feels like in the blink of an eye, Seattle is generating scoring chances and creeping their way back into this game. Konashko right wing to the front of the net, out of the reach of Svejkovsky. On the cycle, here's Konashko playing in deep from behind the cage. Backhander, he scores! Guess what? We got a 1-goal game. It comes at 4-on-4, and Samuel Konashko picks up his 5th. Off a backhander, it's a 4-3 contest.
He just brings it right in behind Gauthier, catches him napping a little bit. Gauthier maybe thought he was going to feed one out in front into the slot. Didn't expect him to shoot it, I would imagine, because he just caught him by surprise there, and he's able to sneak it in right behind his right skate, right by the right pad, and just like that, we got a one-goal game.
And Seattle right now turning the tables on what happened to them. And granted, escaping with a win last night, but up 5-0, then 5-4. But the lesson learned from that, they have turned a 4-0 deficit, now to 4-3. And still plenty of miles to go in this game. Here comes Matthew Rempe, right side, centering, a shot by Schaefer, and a save is made by Gauthier. A 10-bell threat to tie it up. One of Gauthier's bigger saves here of this game.
It really has been, and so much for all that talk about them not being able to figure out Gauthier here. 3 goals in the second period.
And now Giroux a takeaway. Seattle wanting a penalty. As off the foot race, Schaefer beats Clausen. Back into the Seattle zone, and back come the Thunderbirds. Right side, Davidson to Rempe. Left side, Svejkovsky to the net, blocked by Giroux. Portland a quick counterattack. They're shorthanded for 30 more seconds as a flip on net. Milic is there. Turn right back, Korchinski. Threading one ahead for Sam Popowich, right side. Svejkovsky jabbed away again, and once more Seattle looked like they were looking for a penalty, but instead, better view of this. Crossan is taken down in front of the Thunderbird bench, and that will be Svejkovsky, who will take a seat for 2, and I'm pretty certain not too thrilled how that one ended up.
Not thrilled at all, especially in a sequence in which Seattle thought a few moments earlier there was a missed call and they should have got another penalty out of it, and here we'll go. Both guys skating over to the bench and continue on this. 16 seconds remaining on the Jack O'Brien penalty.
After that, it will be a shortened Portland power play, the Winterhawk power play, again courtesy Oregon Lottery Powerball. But it spelled a second period here that has been defined by chaos. It was 4-0. And that was very early in period number 2. And whatever momentum that Portland had did a complete 180 very quickly.
Having a conversation here, trying to figure out one few skater on the ice there for Seattle as Dunn's going to come out. There's the 5th skater for Matt Odette, trying to figure out what was going on. The crowd not happy that Hannes ends up over in the bench. But this is a moment when you find a lead slipping. If you're Portland, you got to try and play some tight hockey over the next 7 minutes and find a way to hold on to this lead.
Koster Dunn, right side. Back for Konashko. Here's Rubinski. Trying to feed the corner, turned away. Hannes is there. Long toss up the left wing, and Shazowski now levels his man against the left boards. As that a big hit on Rubinski, and a centering attempt just escaping from Delorme. Back to the neutral zone it goes. And to even strength hockey now with 6:28 to go in period 2. Ulsher up the right side, threads it back in, Thunderbird zone. Konashko picks up, laying alongside Korchinski as Seattle again modifying their defensive pairs. We've seen Korchinski with Bauer a little bit in this game. Rempe along the right boards, fed up by Bevington. Davidson's there, left side for Minio, and a glove save by Taylor Gauthier. This one turning into a thriller. At once a 4-goal game, it is now 4-3. Anything can happen from Portland, Oregon. 4-3 game. Mike Benton, Andy Johnson with you. We mentioned 7 years ago as far as a notable Winterhawk date, as we're playing hockey right now in April, but it was a playoff moment. Portland against Seattle, and under lock and key for the first 3 games, scoring just 5 goals. Portland roared back, scoring 8. In Kent, Washington, 8-5 victory. Oliver Bjorkstrand, routine night at the office, 5-point game.
He had a few of those in his Winterhawk career.
He had a bright career going ahead.
I'd say so. He's turned into a decent little NHL player.
Seattle back on the move. Left side, Sam Oremba. Spun away by Ryder Thompson and the Winterhawks. Trying to find the lane out to center ice. As here comes James Stefan down the right. Clausen to his left. At the corner, and Clausen trying to shake off Tyrell Bauer and the referee. Trip to center ice. Thunderbirds back on the move. Connor Roulette had to slow up. Delayed offside was oncoming. Cleary ahead for Stefan. Golf it back in. Glove side corner of Thomas Milic. 5:03 to go here in period 2. Shelter. Left board says shot blocked. Handing off for Bevington. A sharp angle bid trickling to the net. And covered up by Milic. As again a scrum ensues in the crease. Even strength hockey still with all the chaos erupting. As far as manpower changes, a rally as well. It's still 4-3 Portland.
Jonah Bevington's going to start this one, wins it along the board, sends one in, and we saw Portland score a goal with this line in a similar kind of fashion earlier, so a good job by Milic. Just cover it up, get a face-off, get some fresh legs out there in the second period with longer line changes. That's a smart play from a goaltender, and I think Portland, they're going to have to figure out a way to handle this Seattle forecheck. They've really turned up the pressure, they're creating turnovers, and we know Portland likes to use their speed and be an explosive offense, and they're having a tough time getting out of their zone clean right now.
Matt Odette using Henrik Rubinski on that defensive zone draw. Had a whale of a night last night, 16 of 28 at the dot against Tri-City. As right now, Reed Schaefer pokes this one to center and taken away by Alsher. To the red line, Konosko is there off a takeaway. Rubinski right side to the slot. Schaefer to Rubinski, and a save is made by Gauthier. He had an open look, and Gauthier coming out to challenge enough, and he keeps it a one-goal game.
I mean, again, the forecheck, it was just pressure on Merrick Alsher. He has to send a pass. It turns into a turnover. That creates a scoring opportunity. Rubinski right there on the doorstep. Gauthier did a good job of skating out towards him and taking away some of those angles, and the shot ends up hitting him right in the stomach, and not only does he make that save, but he handles the rebound and covers it up.
You get a look at Gauthier, this face-off and deep. If you're a fan of these two teams, here's Ansel. Point shot blocked. From Delorme is there. Breakaway pass, and here comes Cross-Hannes on goal. Lost the puck. Paddle away by Thomas Milic. And Cross-Hannes, nothing but highway. Seattle might have got a break as that puck slipped away. Here's O'Brien. Right corner, back to McCleary. Thrown back up high, Cagnoni, and a save is made by Milic. And he covers up amidst traffic with 3:53 to go in the second period. Just got to get to something, Andy. See how chaotic this game has been. 4-0 now, 4-3, and based on the wild nights that these two teams had last night, if you're a fan, boy, get the thumbs out.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to need it as the night goes on. How about that chance from Hannes skating in, and only Milic ends up in the goal, just trying to hold that one back behind the line. A nice save, but even here in the last couple of moments, a good rebound from Portland as they've found a way to get some scoring opportunities back in their favor.
Connor Roulette, nice chip and chase play, but the Portland defense neutralizes that rush. Dero right side, Stefan. Thrown just wide of the net. Don't forget, Dero's got 2 goals this evening. Niko Mijatovic a takeaway and a lawn to center ice. Winterhawks regather. The long reach of Tyrell Bauer takes this one away. Anchors it back in behind the Portland net. Gauthier to the far glass. Thompson's there. On to center for Smythe. And center red and rubbed out of the play by Mijatovic. Portland dumps it back in. They'll go for a wholesale change. Milic handing off for Bauer as Nguyen, Bevington, and Jazowski up front for Portland. Matthew Rempe pushing one along and knocked down by Hannes. Taken back, Popowich, and just bumped wide of the net. Seattle in search of the game-tying goal, and Portland trying to cut off the rally. 2:47 to go in period 2. Hannes long toss. Here's Jazowski, 2-on-1. Fed one across and just out of the reach of Marcus Nguyen as he was wiped out by Rubinski. Thunderbird defense hustling back to break up the outnumbered attack as this puck is cleared. Marek Alsher Off the left boards, Bevington throws it in deep. Milic handing off now for Konashko. 2:18 to play. Lobbing one ahead, Portland zone. Koster down to the outside. Taking on McCleary. Svejkovsky threads one all the way to center. Hansel is there. Korchinski up for Svejkovsky from the off wing. Took the shot and just missed the net. From the point, Hansel trying to set up Davidson. Broken up by Crossanis. O'Brien frees it for McCleary. 1:44 to go in period 2. The Winterhawk captain Hannes. Lobbing one ahead, turned away. Hansel stashes one back in. Left side corner of Gauthier. There's Hannes up the left wing for Crossanis. Given away, point shot by Bauer. Knocked down by Traffic. Sitting loose now, right side. Taken back by Crossanis. Portland trying to generate numbers. Textbook breakup by Tyrell Bauer. Hannes throws it back in as Milic slows it down.
That was big. Couple of tired defensemen on the ice there for Portland. McCleary and Hannes, a long shift for them. McCleary just finally able to get off.
Sam Moremba will pitchfork it in. Down to a minute left here in period 2. Feels like anyone's game now. 4-3 contest. It was 4-0, and Seattle ripping off 3 straight goals here in this second period. Stefan to center. Broken up by Korchinski as Hansel. Back along for Rempe. Right side Popowich. Low shot. Patch saved by Gauthier. Back of the goal. Here's Schaefer. Left side threw one blindly to the net. Broken up and cleared by Marek Alscher. Cagnoni deposits back in behind the Thunderbird net. Milic is there as now Hansel couldn't clear. Having to deal with Szaszowski is Popowich. Bumping one along to Rubinski. Over left side. Into the corner, it's worked all the way back. 2 seconds left, Popowich teed one up. Too many layers and knocked down by Ryder Thompson. Once again, emotions nearly boiling over. The Winterhawks at 1 point, up by 4. It is now 4-3, Winterhawks over Seattle. Sunset across Portland, Oregon here, but still a very bright picture ahead for these two teams heading into period 3. And what was a 4-0 game? It is now 4-3. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back inside. Mike Benton alongside Andy Johnson. And this one simply boils down to the fact, the beauty of WHL hockey, you never know what you're going to see. And tonight, lead changes, momentum changes all across the board.
I mean, it happened last night in reverse to Seattle. They're up 5-0 on Tri-City. Next thing you know, you look up, it's 5-4. So these leads can disappear in a hurry, and we should touch back on why it's so important. These two teams are fighting for the 3rd seed in the Western Conference, that favorable first-round matchup, so a lot still on the line here in the next 20 minutes.
Plenty of pucks fired on net. Let's take a look at them. Our shots on goal brought to you by Michelob Ultra for those who go the extra mile.
Seattle outshooting Portland in each of the first 2 periods. Doing again there in the second period as that was the first goal there from Duro, an easy shot on goal. He puts it in the back of the net. When this one went in, you kind of got a feeling it's just all Portland's night. Everything's turning up in their favor. Morey's able to get a stick on it and put it in the back of the net, and then next thing you know, you look up, Seattle fights right back. You get a goal off of a face-off, and the shots on goal starting to wear down Portland. Only 19 shots on goal for Portland. That's a little uncharacteristic. We've seen them in games against Seattle get up to 50, so only 19 through 2 periods. Seattle's doing a good job of holding them down.
Our save of the game is brought to you by FedEx, the world on time.
And this was a big one from Gauthier, a breakaway chance here. I believe it's Rempe, who sets it up right into the slot there. And that's a big save. The game was 4-3 at the time. It could have been tied.
Momentum certainly can define games. It is defining that save and this one. Portland up by 1 with 20 minutes to go. 20 more minutes to go. Glad you settled in here for this one. It's turning into a thriller. 4-3 Portland over Seattle. About time now for our puck drop. Brought to you by VisitKent.com. Bringing the world home. Portland 32-1 when they lead after 2 periods. But keep in mind, Seattle's got 2 comeback wins when they trail after 2, don't do it much. 2-13, 1-1 on the season. As Seattle begins with Rabinski, Popowich, and Connor Roulette's Popowich, one-timer save made, rebound Roulette, and turned away by Taylor Gauthier. Just slid across in time to cover the angle as Portland a quick counter. Back into the offensive zone, but taken away, and Korchinski can't clear. Clausen to the net, and just deflecting wide as Robbie from Delorme set a screen. Back it goes, Winterhawk zone. And Curtis Smythe back to play for Ryder Thompson.
That's what you need to keep an eye on right there, is Portland's ability to get out of their own zone clean to create scoring chances. That's going to turn into icing, and we'll come back down the other way. But you saw a couple of nice saves early on from Gauthier, who's trying to settle himself down. It felt like he hadn't given up a goal against Seattle in forever, and then all of a sudden he gives up 3 in about a span of, 7-8 minutes there in the second period. So he makes a couple of nice saves to open up the third period.
Mike Benton with you alongside Andy Johnson. Last time these two teams will meet in the regular season again. Important positioning in the U.S. division at stake with Seattle 3 points back. Portland trying to lock up home ice advantage tonight, but needs some help. They throw this one down the length. Icing is the call. Magic number is 3, so they're looking at Kelowna right now, but not helping out. Up 2-0 in the Victoria Royals. So in other words, any combination of 3 points gained and lost helps them get it done tonight, which would basically require a win and a loss by the Rockets. But right now that in hand. So if the Rockets take care of business, they got to wait one more night here to lock that part up.
Still 4 games to go for both these teams in the regular season, so you control your own destiny.
Here's Stefan, save is made, rebound for DeRoe for the hat trick, and just slams it wide. Loose puck, shipped up by Sveikovsky, out of the zone and back into the Portland net. DeRoe, quick one-touch feed, Clausen, wrist shot. Glove saved by Thomas Milic, and he hangs on right now with 18:32 to go in period 3. Andy, we're talking about Kelowna and the hazards that the 4th place team in the conference will face. Seattle's won 3 of 4. They've handled things pretty well. And we'll get to this in a bit here as the shot for the outside was taken care of by Thomas Milic.
Yeah, it was a nice save there from Milic. Those are the ones you file away for later in the game, because a 2-goal lead here for Portland would be big early in the third period. Both goaltenders making a nice save.
Jasowski, a shot save, rebound in front, what a save by Thomas Milic! Into the glove. How did he stop that one? He keeps it a 1-goal game with 18. 22 to go in regulation.
Erase the last one, file this one away. How about that save? He's laying on his left side. That's about as high as he can lift the glove up from that angle, because he's completely lost his balance, but he's able to just snag it at the last second, and that's one that Aiden Litke is going to look back on the highlight and just wish if he could get another 1 or 2 inches of more height on it. It finds the back of the net. That's a beautiful save.
So put a pin right there as far as this game's progress. We'll see if that can lead to anything as far as a big moment. As a jam play to the net, turned away by Milic. Cleary right side. Now for Jasowski. Back onto the blue line, Cagnoni. Delayed penalty coming up. It will be against Seattle for the point. Cagnoni's shot. Save is made. Rebound McCleary and just wide. Extra attacker off the bench is Jack O'Brien. Coster Dunn touches up, and it appeared to be an accidental collision. And it will be a penalty coming up here on Reed Schaefer, so Portland gets a pretty important power play here to get some breathing room.
You see Coster Dunn there. How about the impact he's had? He's only played in 9 games, and saw him a little bit at the end of December, coming back up now with some of the injuries that they've been dealing with. He scored a goal for him last night. He's had a nice little impact. He's got 2 goals in his last 3 games, but Schaefer is going to take the penalty, and whenever you got a game this tight with everything on the line, I mean, you were mentioning having to play Kelowna in the first round. It's something these teams want to avoid if they can, and Portland currently holding that 3 seed. That's why it's so important here tonight, and now you got a power play chance early in the third period to try and retake control of this game.
Winterhawks on the Oregon Lottery Powerball power play, their 3rd of this game. Don't forget again, Seattle has scored 10 shorthanded goals this season. That is tied for 3rd best in the league, and they get this one stuffed down the ice. Play Hannes, the breakout pass to Rowe. Relaying just out of the reach of Klassen. Svejkovsky wiped out, but got the clear all the way back down. We're just touching on that 4th versus 5th matchup, and Seattle has handled Kelowna well, but again, you get into playoff time, anything can happen.
Anything could happen. That's why you want to try to avoid it if you can. There's a difference in 28 points. Talk about a sizable gap between Kelowna and Vancouver. So you're talking about a team that's 12 games above 500 or a team that's 10 games below 500. That's a big gap, and I think both these coaches think they can beat Kelowna if you play them in the first round, but you'd rather, I don't know if they'd admit it publicly, but I think they both rather play Vancouver or whoever ends up in that 5 spot.
Here's Duro, pass 1 to the net and knocked away by Konashko. Very quick, Kelowna with just 5 losses in regulation at home all season. Kind of feels like a throwback year when they had some juggernaut teams 10 years ago and beyond.
Really does. It really does. And not only is it that first round matchup important, but I think both these teams have the firepower to get to the conference finals. And if that were to happen, whoever wins that 3 seed would have home ice in that playoff series.
30 seconds left in the Winterhawk man advantage. And Shazowski top of the circle looking down low. Lipke turned one of the net. Save is made by Milic. And he'll cover up here now with 22 seconds left on the Portland power play.
This is that impressive Seattle penalty kill that we've seen as of late. We've highlighted how good they've been here as of late. They've only allowed 2 power play goals in their last 5 games, at least coming into tonight. Allowed one earlier, but Milic doing a good job leaving the blocker down, taking away the angle from Lipke, and then after that he's able to cover the puck up and get a face-off, and Portland's going to try and find a way to win this face-off, set something up here. 22 seconds remaining on the power play.
They're doing this also without one of their top power play guys in Tyson Kozak. 25 points on the season, a giveaway to the middle, and Gabe Ludwig spins this one down the distance. Schaefer out of the box in 10 seconds. Luca Cagnoni, home run pass ahead, out of the reach of Lipke. Milic out of his glove behind the net. Flips it this side now for Svejkovsky. At the 5-on-5 is Svejkovsky. Portland zone forced wide of the net by McCleary. On the walkout, a sharp angled shot turned away by Gauthier. Rebound off glass. Rubinski is there. Takes this one left corner. Roulette in behind the cage. Sharp angle bid just sent wide. Korchinski. Left point turns it wide. Loose puck in front. Roulette. What a save made by Gauthier. That in a bit to tie it up. Here's Roulette firing and blocked by McCleary. Loose puck. Roulette sends it wide again. Seattle playing off momentum. Here's Bauer right side, and a shot blocked by McCleary. Loose puck, Rubinski shoots it wide. It is turning into a fire drill. Bauer to Rubinski, right circle. Down low, Roulette, centering attempt broken up by Shelter. Given right back to Rubinski. Now battling with O'Brien. Portland, you get a look, they're gassed. It is Korchinski. And back of the goal to Rubinski, trying to shake off O'Brien. Mijatovic sneaks off bench for Seattle. Loose puck, Roulette. Will chip it in behind the cage. Hanging on to it. Cycling from Mijatovic and forced back left circle. Draws the assignment from Cagnoni. In about a good minute, the Winterhawks pinned in their own end, and finally Shelter brings it out. Gained the red, flips it in.
He makes up for the mistake he made a couple of moments ago, getting a little too cute, trying to clear the puck out of his own zone. He turned it over.
Klassen off a takeaway and just jammed wide of the net. Off the recovery by Tyrell Bauer. Up the near side, Oremba. Lost this one. Here's Duro for the hat trick, and a save is made by Milic. Rebound to the front of the net. Both teams fighting for it. What a sequence. And Milic gets the cover up with 14:02 to go in regulation.
You saw Korchinski and Klassen get tangled up there at the end of it. You mentioned Duro. He's got 2 tonight, looking for his 3rd. He goes right in on the doorstep, tries to go top shelf, stick side, and then that puck's just bouncing around. It's loose. Milic can't find it. He's finally able to cover it up and fall back down on his backside, and Klassen and Korchinski battling all the way down to the ice. But that's a big one there for Milic. A lot of chaos right in front of his own zone. We saw Portland score a goal in a very similar fashion earlier in the second period. He's able to control that one and get a face-off.
That was your breakfast in the frying pan cut type of sizzle. My goodness, that was ferocious. Here comes Reed Schaefer down the right. Backhander turned away, just leaked wide of Gauthier. But behind the cage. Now Marcus Nguyen flipping an end over end right past the Seattle defense. It goes for icing against Portland, and this is going to come all the way back now with inside 14 minutes left in regulation.
We've seen Portland try that a couple of times, and it hasn't worked so far in the third period.
Both teams will get a breather. We're back in a bit in a one-goal game. Shots even up at 28 apiece in a game that was turning into a 4-goal rout. That was Portland's run. Seattle has chipped away. They're back in it. There's still plenty of hockey to go. Glad you can be with us here from the Coliseum. Mike Benton, Andy Johnson with you. Kevin Korchinski's head man out of the reach of Middlestead. Rare shift for him in this game. Picked up now by Curtis Smythe. Given right back to Rempe. Looked along the boards as Rempe trying to throw it back for Mijatovic. Into the corner to an awaiting Curtis Smythe. Thompson off for Bevington. Try to pound this one out. It's kept in by Hansel. And bouncing back for Thompson. No reset for Smythe. 12:55 remaining now in regulation. As the puck now taken by Rempe. Battling alongside Thompson, shoulder on shoulder. Loose puck off the boards. Jack O'Brien is there. Long to From Delorme on a chip and chase. Down the right wing, he hit the brakes. Trying to shake off Bauer. O'Brien to the net and just out of the reach of Hannes.
That's how they won in overtime last night. It was O'Brien that started and set it up, and Hannes was the one that finished it. Went right to the crease, just unable to find it.
Last night told you something for these two teams and the games that they went through. 1-goal lead right now. Well, anything can happen. Reed Schaefer out of chip and chase. Down the right side, Winterhog zone trying to attack the net. Bouncer in front. Turned away on a routine save by Gauthier. Portland may have numbers countering. Clausen. Pass too far behind. Cross Hannes. Schaefer spins one ahead. Here comes Ludwig. Trying to take on Cagnoni. Threads it wide of the net. And a loose puck around now to the left corner. Roulette trying to bump it back. Knocked away by James Stefan, trying to push his way in. Off a backhander. Wasn't going anywhere. Spun away by Thomas Milic. And now Hansel gives it right back. Stefan to the net and just out of the reach of Litke. Thrown back. Alscher teed one up. Knocked down by Davidson. Loose puck far corner. Roulette trying to clear it this side, but kept in by Alscher. Giroux now spins away from Konoshko, who lost his stick. Loose puck for Litke. Spun away by Sveikovsky. Lead feed is center for Davidson. Into the Winterhawk zone and knocked away. Counterattack as Marcus Nguyen speeds his way down the right. Save is made. Rebound and just sent wide by Aiden Litke. Portland looking for a critical breathing room goal. Shazowski, a backhander, turned away from the slot. Cleared up ahead by Sveikovsky. Here comes Roulette left side and just missed too high. 10:38 to go in regulation. Tension up and down the ice. It feels like now every shift got a little bit of a taste here as far as playoff action. That's 4 games away for these teams. From Delorme, off for Hannes. Return attempt to the net, knocked down. Hannes, a shot on. Save is made by Thomas Milic.
You see why he was signed by Detroit a couple of weeks ago and drafted early. He forces a turnover, creates a chance right in front of Milic, and Milic does a good job to cover it up there at the last second.
Well, you're enjoying this game, you're going to enjoy this. Playoff time getting closer. 11th consecutive season. The Winterhawks will play for a WHL championship. Future NHL stars right here in your backyard. Playoffs begin April 22nd. Playoff tickets, get them right now at winterhawks.com. Off the right circle face-off. This is bumped back to the point. And Ryder Thompson looking in deep. O'Brien chased by Hansel. O'Brien looking in front and knocked away by Kevin Korchinski. And a Conversation with him along with that up close and personal chat as well with Cross Hannes. This one dumped back into the Winterhawk end. Thompson ahead for Hannes. Deflecting back in for a full change for Mike Johnston's bunch. 10:15 to go in regulation. Loose puck at center. Popowich redirecting ahead. Out of the reach of Oremba. Battling Cagnoni as McCleary jumping in. And the Winterhawks back on the move. Giroux left wing. Work back in. Delayed offside. The Winterhawks have to touch up. Konashko ahead now for Rempe. Angles right glass back into the Portland zone behind Taylor Gauthier, who stays put. Loose puck left corner. Cagnoni far boards. Got the clear. Down it goes. At the chase, Samuel Konashko shakes off Giroux. Seems like now each pass, each play with much more calculation versus period one.
It sure feels that way. The tension in the building, man. You could cut it with a knife. I know Mike Johnson smiling down on the bench, though. He wanted his team to get playoff atmosphere experience. A lot of these guys have not played in the playoffs because we just haven't had them the last 2 years due to COVID. So he's loving this experience that his team's getting. I know Matt Odette feels the same way about his group.
Hansel, who will make his playoff debut. Now it is Gabe Ludwig. Right wing, tumbling one just wide of the net. Loose puck off the backboards. It is Clay Hannes. Knocked away. Davidson offers Fejkowski to the net and just lost the puck. And Kyle Szaszowski closed his hand on the puck, trying to play it ahead, and everybody saw it. And it will be a Thunderbird power play coming up.
He tried to argue the call. That's the right call. I don't know who got their stick on Fejkowski's stick, but that's what keeps him from getting a shot. It looks right there. It was Szaszowski first, who grabs the stick as he's trying to shoot, so he's unable to get a clean look, but then covers the puck with his glove, passes it backwards. Obviously can't do that. And we talk about momentum situations in this game. Portland had a chance with a power play earlier in the third period to regain control and try and build that lead back up to 2. Now it's Seattle with a two-minute man advantage here with less than 10 minutes to go in the third period.
Thunderbirds Planet Fitness power play is their 6th. They're 1 of 5. And a chance here to tie the game remarkably. Here is Schaefer, right circle, spun away, and backhanded down the ice by Gabe Clausen. Korchinski, Rybinski, Rempe, Schaefer, and Mijatovic for Seattle as now Schaefer brings it in left side to the net. Deflection, they score! They've tied the game! 4 goals and a comeback for the Seattle Thunderbirds. And Henrik Rybinski picks up the loose puck, stashes his 20th of the season. We're tied 4-4.
It's Reed Schaefer that sends it in initially to Rybinski to try and get the look. As you'll see, Clausen unable to steal it away from him. He sends it in, and it's just a good deflection. Right place, right time. You go to the net, good things are going to happen. Rybinski finds a fortunate bounce right into his stick. He beats Gauthier, and just like that. Can you imagine me telling you, 2 minutes into the second period, this thing's going to be all tied up at 4. It was all Portland with a 4-0 lead. We got a whole new game.
2 takeaways from that play and the sequence. It's a sequence that Seattle is going to replay over and over and think of when they need a rallying point. Secondly, at what point is any lead safe for the Western Hockey League?
That's why we love this league, isn't it?
My
You never know what's going to happen.
So we'll see how Portland responds. Up 4-0. It is now all tied at 4. Cross Hannes left side to the net. Pinballed away by Lacombe. Loose puck at Hannes. A save is made by Milic. Might have got that one off the mask. Hannes point shot. Missed it wide of the net. So the Winterhawks coming right back with pressure from Delorme up the middle. Looking for Hannes. Deflects away. As we get a stop with 7:41 to go, I think because of a mask issue with Thomas Milic.
Looks to be the case. We're having a conversation about it. He's got a piece loose. Strap just came loose in that last scrum, I guess, in front of him. He's going to have a conversation with the official. And Milic is a guy, I mean, he deserves a lot of credit for this game. continuing to be within reach for Seattle, as they'd love to get out of here, obviously with 2, but to be down 4-0, fight your way back. If you can hold tough here in the next 7:41 just to get a point, it keeps your chances of getting that 3rd seed alive. A regulation loss and falling 5 points behind Portland would all but ended. Only 4 games remaining for both of these two teams, and so that's why it's important, and Milic has been key. Gave up those 4 early goals, but he has been terrific ever since.
Kelowna has extended their lead to 3-0 on Victoria. And as far as first place watch, in the U.S. division, Everett's up 2-1 late 3rd period on Tri-City. As now we get tempers flaring right back at the penalty bench. And we will for sure get penalties here, just waiting to find out how many and to who.
Yeah, I know Hansel's the first one. We'll see if anybody else has anything come their way. At least I thought it was Hansel. You'll see there, Nguyen with the initial hit, and there comes Hansel with the cross check to the back at the end of the play. And now Rybinski looks like it's going to go. And we'll see Nguyen potentially as well for Portland. And I guess there's no call on Hansel, so it's just going to be Rybinski and Nguyen, and we're going to have offsetting minors. I'm a little surprised by that. Portland, you can, I'm sure if your volume's loud enough, hear the boos from the crowd here. It's a great crowd at the VMC. Fans are not happy about that, but if we get some 4-on-4 hockey, as we've highlighted throughout the course of the night, winning those face-offs is huge because there's more space and you got to find that puck possession, and we could be having it here for 2 minutes.
A different feel in this building as compared to about roughly an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It was jubilation. It was celebration, and now it has turned into stress.
Now
it looks like Jeremy Hansel's going to go.
That's what they were waiting for. Hey, who said peer pressure doesn't work, huh? You boo loud enough, eventually they go grab him and send him over to the penalty box, and I mean, that's the right call for me. Cross-checked him in the back after that altercation and that hit between Nguyen and Rybinski. So now Portland will get that power play chance. 7:28 remaining. Bauer's going to plead his case as the captain of the Seattle Thunderbirds. But a man advantage coming for the Winterhawks, and this is a big, big stretch here with less than 8 to go in the 3rd period.
Winterhawks will go on their 4th Oregon Lottery Powerball power play.
Yeah, you see the initial call there, Rybinski and Nguyen getting tied up, and then Hansel's the one that comes in and finishes it off. And I think he knew right away his kind of reaction to that. He understood, and I think Rybinski maybe got called there for that altercation after the whistle happened.
You give credit as well to Portland, and it looked like that they had no interest in getting into it emotionally because of the stakes of this game right now.
Yeah, you want to be smart. I mean, this point of the year, we're less than 2 weeks to go in the regular season, and the last thing you want is somebody getting a suspension, somebody getting hurt because of a fight or a big hit. So both these coaches want their teams to be smart.
Off the draw, Seattle wins it. Jared Davidson clears it down. He'll go for a change in place of Lucas Fejkovsky. And for the Winterhawks, Hannes, Duro, Stefan, Hannes, and Clausen. Cross Hannes left side, centering, they score! That's a hat trick for Jaden Duro. And a big goal to take the lead. 7:09 left in period 3. And here come the Hats for the Saskatchewan native. It's 5 for Portland.
His 2nd hat trick against Seattle this season, and how quick was that? You get the man advantage. Cross Hannes, a player we've talked about a lot tonight. Him and Duro work terrifically together. Hannes is great at setting up his teammates. He knew it immediately. A great feed into Duro. He's able to finish it off in his 3rd of the night, all coming in different forms. A couple of breakaway chances, a shorthanded goal. They've all been pretty, and now you got to pick some hats up off the ice, and that is the momentum boost that this crowd needed and that team needed as Portland back in charge. Cross Hannes now standing up. He's hollering something down at those guys, saying, let's finish this thing off. 7 minutes to go. They understand how important these 2 points are.
That is the 3rd hat trick of the season for Jaden Duro. He's had 2 now in less than a month. That also came against Seattle back in the 19th of March. Also spun one against Spokane back in February.
Not bad for a guy that missed the first, 20, 25 games of the season playing in the AHL.
5th round draft pick of Tampa Bay. for the pandemic-shortened season. Career high 70 points in 61 games, so you know this season means a lot to him. Jaden DeRoe's hat trick and a clutch third goal on his sheet tonight. A response here for the Winterhawks, who coughed up a 4-0 lead and have taken it right back here 5-4.
You mentioned DeRoe and his third hat trick. He had the first one of the year for Portland, and again, he missed the beginning of the season. This team is 35-6-1-1 since the calendar turned to December, and it's almost broken up into 3 chapters. Before DeRoe, they weren't very good. They got DeRoe back, they were pretty good, and then they picked up Taylor Gauthier, and they've been on fire ever since.
Off the draw, Korchinski works this one down in this crazy game to the backboards. And Davidson spun it free back to Svejkovsky. Locked up by Jack O'Brien. Along to Korchinski as Davidson trying to work one to the circle, and From Delorme spins it free but not out, and Svejkovsky over to the right side. Sharp angle bid knocked away by traffic, and From Delorme airmails this one back to center ice. 6:25 to go in the third period. Portland taking the lead back. You get the sense, though, plenty of time for anything, and I mean anything, to happen. Don't go anywhere, friends. Winterhawks on the attack. Lawson left side, bouncing one to the net, swatted away, returned up the middle. Roulette is there, and Seattle back on the counter. Roulette centering intent. A shot by Popowicz. Save is made by Gauthier. That was a toughie. Stefan, long diagonal pass to Rowe, looking for 4, and a blocker save made by Thomas Milic.
That's what Portland loves to do. You find the puck after a missed shot, you get the rebound, you send the outlet pass out, and you get a scoring chance.
Rubinski trying to knife his way through the defense. Scooped up by Taylor Gauthier as we have 5 minutes and 39 seconds left in regulation. Down the stretch they come in a thriller. The Winterhawks up 5-4. A face-off back in the Winterhawk zone, which means another critical moment of this game. Was 4-0, then 4-4, now 5-4. On a hat trick by Jaden DeRoe, and Crossanis able to heave this one high enough back into the Thunderbird zone. And we'll see how personnel matters are shuffled around now with time winding down. Kevin Korchinski bumping one ahead for Ludwig. Knocked away back at center red as Robbie From Delorme pushed right back into the Thunderbirds, trying to regroup. It is Konashko. Chipping one ahead and knocked down. Good read by Luca Cagnoni. From Delorme back to play. As now McCleary. It'll drop for Cagnoni. Sam Oremba off the bench. Lead feet left wing is neutralized by Konashko. 4:45 to go here in period 3. 5-4 Winterhawk advantage. This game has felt like maybe for all but 2 minutes. Nowhere close as far as anyone taking full control. As the Winterhawks bringing in right wing DeRoe to the corner, knocked away by Sawyer Minio. And back now to the point. Return by Clay Honnison deep. Clausen pinned by Bauer. Over near side, and Rempe trying to push one along. It's back to center. Honest will dump it in, and it took a weird bounce up the net. Milic settled that one down. Bauer's head man feed too far ahead of Rubinski, and so Portland trying to spin it back in. It's out of play. And inside 4 minutes left here in regulation.
Nobody knew where that puck went. It looked like for a moment Lidke was skating along the boards, waiting for it to fall down near his stick, but it jumped up out of play, and Portland's more than happy doing this right now. 3:55 to go. Just keep dumping it in, killing as much time. Don't let Seattle get through the neutral zone clean, and now the game for Matt Odette becomes what point do you want to get Milic out of there and get that extra attacker? And we know it can work. We saw Portland do it with, I believe the official time was 11.7 seconds to go last night. Clay Honus scoring the tying goal that sent it to overtime. So you know that extra attacker can be effective. Now it's just when do you want to go for it?
It's around this time when Portland rallied down by 2 to tie it in Everett. Here's Korchinski from the line across to Rubinski. through the box, rolls all the way back onto the right point, and Korchinski fanning on his shot. Chipped to center and down by Marcus Nguyen. 3:28 to go in regulation. Lead feed Schaefer, copped up from Delorme from the right wing. High rising shot, standing save by Thomas Milic. And he hangs on here. So an important 4-point swing game with Portland up by 1. Thunderbirds, as far as what's ahead for them, back-to-back with Spokane and Everett, 2 teams opposite ends of the standings, and 2 on the road of Vancouver and Tri-City. Next for Portland, 4 games left, and they're not easy. 3-game trip ahead with Vancouver, Kamloops, and wrapping up at Tri-City. And one last tune-up at home against Everett.
The schedule is very challenging, so Seattle not done with a regulation loss tonight, but it is going to be an uphill battle. And again, to remind people, that's a 3-point gap right now between Portland and Seattle. Regulation win for Portland would push it up to 5.
Kelowna's up 3-0 on Victoria, heading into the third period. As from Delorme around now to the left side, back onto the blue line. Danioni sends it wide. O'Brien right corner, 2:55 to go. Kanashko to center. Left wing, Mijatovic chasing back in, Portland zone. Brian McCleary dislodges, and the Winterhawks in transition. Tape-to-tape feed, Stefan from the right. Stick save made by Thomas Milic, and that one's out of play. With 2:39 to go in regulation, Everett has just wrapped up a 2-1 win over Tri-City. So as of right now, as far as playoff position, you got Everett at 97 points, and Portland right now, for the moment, stuck at 89.
Yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle for Portland to try and win the U.S. division. The win last night was big. Happened in overtime, though, so Everett was able to get a point. I think their goals are kind of set on that 3 seed right now, and before that, trying to find a way to clinch home ice in the playoffs with 2 points in regulation tonight would not quite do it, but get you pretty darn close.
Set in deep off the backboards, and Gauthier will cover with 2:23 to go in regulation. So again, we'll keep our eye on the Seattle side as far as their net and see what Matt Odette does when the time comes here to pull Thomas Milic.
2:23 to go. He's still in there right now. You got a face-off down in Portland zone, so not deciding to do it quite yet. Could be a situation maybe if you win the face-off and you got control of the puck, you can put the extra attacker out there, but all eyes are on Milic, and we'll see if Seattle's going to need him. It's a big face-off win there for Portland.
From the draw, Drouin handing off, Klassen flipped ahead. Back in the Seattle zone, Stefan sends it wide of the net and down to 2:10 to go in regulation. Korchinski, Hansel, Svejkovsky, Rempe, and Davidson for Seattle, who gives it away. Stefan sends it wide of the net. Back to play is Hansel. On the breakout to Matthew Rempe. He'll work it in deep. It's out of play. Milic has got to stay put. We're inside 2 minutes to go in regulation.
He's got his eyes fixated on Matt Odette. Portland's doing a great job here in the closing stretch in the neutral zone. They're just kind of suffocating Seattle as they're trying to break through into the offensive zone. They're forcing turnovers, and when they do, they're just dumping the puck in and killing as much time as they can.
Seattle flips it back in, 1:48 to go from the faceoff. As Rubinski into the right corner. Worked on by O'Brien to the point, kept in by Bauer. Gauthier stays put as Seattle rims this one around to this side. Kanashko angles it in deep. Rubinski jammed. Back up by, taken away. And clear back down by Robbie from Delorme. Icing is the call against the Winterhawks. And down to 1:26 to go in regulation.
Milic got about 10-15 feet away from the goal. He was waiting for the call, but still no call yet from Matt Odette as he's trying to draw something up with his team. Looks like we're going to get a timeout from Odette, so he's going to use this opportunity to break out the whiteboard and come up with something. We saw both these teams earlier in the game score a goal off of a face-off situation, and that's what you want to do in this spot. Portland ices the puck. Now you get a face-off right in front of Gauthier. You got to win it, though, and get puck possession to try and create a good scoring chance.
So no doubt Everett's got eyes on this game right now as they've just finished off Tri-City. They're at 97 points, so if Portland can seal the deal here tonight, they would stay within 6 with 4 games to go. Pretty much still into a corner, but mathematically alive.
Still mathematically alive, and you got that, as you mentioned, Mike, that last game of the regular season back here on April 15th, a Friday night. I'm sure that's going to be a great crowd on a Friday night, last night of the regular season. It's just so great to have it this time of year and to be wrapping up a regular season. These two teams they're heading for the playoffs. I mean, there's still a lot on the line, but for seeding and matchups and all that, but both these teams are playoff teams. They've already clinched, and to have our first WHL postseason in 3 years, I just cannot wait, and it's only a couple of weeks away, and this is just a quick, brief taste of what that action is going to be like.
I think our top 5 teams, anything can happen in the Western Conference. Off the draw, net to our right is empty. Rybinski centering attempt knocked down, worked low to high, out of the reach of Korchinski and back to center. 1:12 to go in regulation. A turnover at center. A shot just wide of the net by Gabe Clausen. Bidding for the empty net from center ice. Korchinski picks up 6-on-5 Seattle. Ahead is Svejkovsky into the zone. Roll one to the net. Swatted away by Hannes. Duro clears. Seattle gets it back. Korchinski left wing for Davidson. His shot. Blocker save made by Gauthier. Rebound Konoshko to the point. Korchinski. Konoshko bumped off Davidson. Return to Konoshko at the right hash. Centering attempt was knocked away. Thrown back onto the point. Penalty coming. Davidson's shot is eaten up by Alsher. The touch-up brings the whistle for a slashing penalty with 28.8 to go. And it will go on the Winterhawks. Buckle up.
It's going to be on the captain, Clay Hannes. It's a big player to lose at this point in the game with 30 seconds to go. It was an easy call from the official. He snapped Konoshko's stick in half, and he immediately raised his hand and said, hey, I don't think you can do that. And so they got the penalty right. Clay Hannes goes to the box, and so now looks like we're going to get another timeout. Both teams want to have a moment. At least Portland this time wants to have a moment to try and figure some out. Drop what they want to do defensively to keep Seattle out with less than 30 seconds to go in this game.
So it will be 6-on-4. The skating situation, face-offs are pretty much even at this point, nearly. Slide edge to Seattle at 32-31. You get a look at the playoff picture right now. That's updated with Everett just finishing off Tri-City here this evening. So what the Winterhawks and Thunderbirds are playing for is to fight for their way into that 3 seed, because you figure 4 versus 5, you've got a toughie in the Kelowna Rockets to deal with.
You see the difference there between Kelowna and Vancouver. That's a number to keep an eye on. 28 points separates the 5 seed in the Western Conference from the 6 seed in the Western Conference. And so obviously in the new conference playoff format, whoever finishes 3rd, you get to play 6, and that's why tonight's game is so big. Only 3 points separating those two teams, and it's been great, and this last 30 seconds is going to be a lot of fun.
Mike Benton, Andy Johnson with you. Fans on their feet at the Coliseum. Face-off won by Seattle. Korchinski to Svejkovsky. Up high, Korchinski shooting. Save is made. They jam in front, and Gauthier will cover up. 20.1 to go in regulation. Seattle got everything they want except the finish. Face-off stays in deep.
Little drop pass there to Korchinski, and this one catches Gauthier up high, and then he says, I'm going to do a little ab workout and just lay down on my back and cover that puck up. Make sure it doesn't slip loose. You get another face-off. These are huge. You got to win the face-off at this moment in the game.
Davidson against Clausen off the draw. Seattle controls. Korchinski to Svejkovsky. Knocked off his stick. Into the corner, Svejkovsky. Back out, Davidson. Save is made by Gauthier. And he covers up. 8.4 to go. And Portland needing everything they got right now from Taylor Gauthier to keep their lead intact.
Again, Seattle wins the faceoff. It allows them to set up in the offensive zone. You swing it around, back behind the net, get it to Davidson. That's a good, clean look. Gauthier makes the save and covers it up.
6-on-4 the situation for Seattle. Face-off left circle. Davidson controls. Svejkovsky across Schaefer. Firing blocked. Loose puck. Eaten up by Marek Alsher. Against the boards. That will drain the clock. This one's over.
Oh, whoa.
There are burning shots involved. Wow. Taylor Gauthier just went after Kevin Korchinski.
He did. Now he's going after Rempe. Ravinsky gets in there to try and talk to him, get him out of there. That did not take long. I don't know what happened there and what caused Gauthier to do that, but he was not happy about something. He went immediately for Korchinski, and now he's waving, getting the crowd fired up. This building loves it. It's Portland and Seattle, and this is one way to end a game. Last time these two teams are going to play this regular season.
Hey, you're these two coaches right now. The last thing you want to see are high-impact players losing time to disciplinary action because of all this. But tempers have cooled, and the Winterhawks have spilled out the bench, knocking off the Seattle Thunderbirds 5-4 in the finale of this matchup. We'll share more on this in just a bit. They stayed all the way until the end, and they had plenty of reason to do so. This one undecided until the finish line. 5-4, the Winterhawks hanging on over the Thunderbirds. One more look here at the shots on goal. Brought to you by Michelob Ultra.
It was a big advantage for Portland there in the third period. Seattle controlled that stat for the first 40 minutes. Portland outshot them in the third period. That was the goal that tied it from Ravinsky, and then Portland able to bounce back. One of the many tonight from Duro. He had a lot of shots on goal. He had 3 goals on the night. That was the hat trick, and what a game. You just can't ask for anything more than this time of year, and to have that afterwards, just a terrific hockey game tonight here in Portland.
Goes right back to really an old school mentality as you take a look here at our scoring summary brought to you by Les Schwab Tires. Sometimes it's not always about the goaltender who gets the shutout, but how many big saves can he make? Henrik Rabinsky with that one, then Jaden Duro firing right back after Seattle tied the game. Duro finishing off his 3rd hat trick of the season, and that goal winding up as the game winner. More to share from what was a thriller here in the Rose Quarter. The highlights are next. Portland finishing off the head-to-head series 9-4 against the Seattle Thunderbirds this season in a 5-4 win over Seattle. Welcome back inside the Coliseum to wrap this one up. I'm Mike Benton, he's Andy Johnson, and well, for Andy, this one, Jaden Duro, a first-star effort and a hat trick, but in what appeared to be a runaway, Seattle showing as much as they could give. They had plenty to give in this one, and you figure these two teams meet in a 7-game series. Oh boy, what fun this could be.
Especially if Seattle's fully healthy, right? Sign me up for that in the conference finals as we'll take a look at the highlights. But your point is so spot on, Mike. It's a gritty win for Portland to be able to withhold giving up a 4-goal lead and fight back and find a way to win. But you love the effort from Seattle. This thing looked like a runaway, and they were able to fight back. But this was the story of the night. It was Jaden Duro. And sometimes when you're in a tightly contested game and there's playoff positioning on the line, it can be as simple as a star player making a lot of plays. And that was the case. He scored a shorthanded goal. He scored a breakaway opportunity right after they killed a penalty early on in the second period. And then, of course, ends up scoring the game winner on a power play situation. So he was the story tonight for Portland. And they're usually a team that gets you with depth scoring. And he tonight just kind of said, I'm going to